Okay, today is October the 31st, 2015. We're watching the water vapor loop for the Northeast Pacific, and today we're watching the jet stream continue to move in over Oregon and Washington, and there appears to be a blockade still right here, same thing as yesterday, right here, and that is disrupting the flow of the jet stream. Let's go ahead and look at the jet stream map right now, and we see that the map shows that the jet stream is still moving in over uh, Oregon and Washington, and there is a high indicated here, looks like, right over that in that area. But instead of curving down now into California as it was doing yesterday, it's just moving sort of in a easterly flow, and then it starts to move in a south, or rather a east southeast direction, and then we have another flow that is moving to the north east. So this is rather strange. We've got a flow that comes down here. It's interrupted right here, and then it turns back up and moves to the northeast. So this is rather strange. Yesterday we were watching this interruption here. They're showing some dotted lines in this view where the flow is interrupted. And those also show up on the pressure maps. Let's go back to the big map, the water vapor map. We see that California, Southern California, is very dry down here right now. We have about 15% relative humidity in Los Angeles, 29-degree dew point, so it's very dry. It's warm. It's around 83, 84 degrees right now at 2:15 in the afternoon Pacific time. We've got low pressure up here. It's trying to spin, and we see some clockwise movement right in the core here, and that this is what descending air, a HARP transmitter, will do. It causes clockwise movement inside a counterclockwise moving low pressure system. So we've got a HARP transmitter right here, and that's causing some clockwise rotation inside the very core of that system. All right, and then we have a huge area of high pressure right down here, and this is all very, very dry air, as indicated by the tan down here on the scale. And so this kind of stuff here causes the oceans to warm to the temperatures that they are right now. We've got 85, 86-degree waters all along Mexico, where Patricia just blew in about a week ago and went right in over Manzanillo in that area. But this is a big problem, and this here is what's causing global warming, quote unquote, global warming and slash climate change. Uh, so this is what's causing the problem. It's not fossil fuels. That's an excuse that politicians are using to foist a carbon tax. It's a tax scheme based on a fallacious argument that carbon and manufacturing is causing global warming. That's completely false, in my opinion. This here is obviously causing the problem. We've got tens of thousands of square miles of open ocean here, even more than that. We've got probably more like a couple 100,000 square miles when you total out all of the other areas, like over here. Uh, there's just a lot of open areas of open ocean exposed to direct sunlight because of these transmitters re-steering storms, and so that's going to warm the ocean. The infrared heats the ocean. The direct sunlight, the infrared heats the ocean, and that's what's happening. And the politicians don't know any better, especially here in California. We've got a whole legislature of people that are completely out to lunch. They don't know what's going on, and they're being told that instituting a carbon tax on manufacturing in this state is somehow going to solve the problem, when in fact this is all being done to block a conveyor belt of weather systems coming into the West Coast, which in my opinion is weather warfare. We've been watching storm after storm after storm. Here comes another one right here. This is about a 972 millibar developing storm right here. We can't see the center of the core yet, but This is out over the central and west Pacific, and this will come down, and we can already see the preparation right here being made. We've got a transmitter right there that is set up a blockade, and notice that what happens here, the moisture field is running into that. It's sort of mushrooming. Part of that flow is coming down here. The other part is right up here, right over the Aleutian Islands. So, in my opinion, this is what is causing our quote global warming / climate change, is this man-made weather manipulation that is likely resulting from weather warfare. And the jokers on television are not talking about this. They've been instructed to shut up and read the script that they've been handed, and that's it. And to just celebrate the sunlight that never seems to end. We have sunlight all the time. We don't have any fall weather and all that. So, okay, I don't want to rant too much, but this is a thing that we all need to start talking about. All right. So anyhow, this is the tail end of this moisture field is now moving in over Oregon and Washington. You can still see that feature right there. Blockade is still in place. We see this new front here. This is that storm. And we have a low pressure right here. We were just looking at that. There's some clockwise movement in the core of that low pressure, which is indicating an attempt to weaken the core with a descending air right here. Let's keep going. We'll take a look at that. Here is the western U.S. map, the water vapor map. And we can see again that this feature is still here, that blockade right there over Oregon and Washington. You could lay a ruler right along there, and it's only happening in the U.S. It's not occurring in Canada. This flow is moving up freely around through Canada and down into Montana. That's a man-made feature to disrupt the jet stream flow. Okay, let's look at this in the infrared mode. You can see here what happens. This is all disrupted. And there's chemtrails up here. We were looking at that yesterday on the MODIS satellite. Okay, let's look at the East Pacific. This is where a lot of the hurricanes, most of the hurricanes in the Eastern Pacific all form down here off of Central America. And we see that there's not too much activity here. There's no disturbances identified on the Hurricane Center maps today. And in the Atlantic, there's nothing either in the Pacific or the Atlantic. Let's look at the East. This is the Eastern East Pacific. This is Central America. This is where all the hurricanes form. And today, this area of thunderstorms is being blown apart. We'll get to see that in the visible light mode and also in the infrared mode. And we see right here, there's a shock wave all along this area that's moving at an oblique vector right here. It's moving down in this direction. Now notice that the general flow of all this thunderstorm activity is to the sort of to the west-northwest. Everything's just sort of moving along in a westerly flow. And yet we see a blast pattern down here as well. This is shooting out down to the southwest. They're hitting this area, and they're also hitting this area right here. And we can see the color change. It goes from an orange right here and red to a white and blue on the scale. So it diminishes. When they target these storms with microwave, we see this happen. Everything diminishes. We have a shock wave. And on this system down here, we see a much more intense blast pattern right here. We see the color change in the core of these thunderstorms. Notice the color change. It goes from a pink all the way down to an aqua and a white. So they've hit this area, and we see the blast pattern all along here. These icicle-like fingers that are shooting out. That's a blast pattern from the instantaneous heat and expansion from water vapor, from heated water vapor expanding. We get this rapid expansion, and we have the blast pattern that we see down there. And all around here as well, we see a vector force moving out in this direction. Now let's go ahead and look at this in the This is the infrared loop. Okay, and get this centered up. Okay, now in this system up here, this area, we see that right here, that is a blast pattern. And the same with down here. We can see this best in the visible light mode today, which is right here. And right here we see three separate semicircular shock waves. One here, one there, and one over here. So we got three of them in a row. And it looks like a wave coming down at a totally oblique angle. It's coming down at this angle here in basically a south-southeast direction. And note that all the thunderstorm activity is generally moving more or less to the west. And yet we see these strong shock waves moving out at this strange angle here. All right, now the other thing we want to look at in this mode here is these dimples. There are large crater-like dimples that are the result of the microwave hitting and targeting these thunderstorms. Today, they're not. There are no fluorescent overlays over these storms, so they have not photoshopped this loop today. So we can see some detail. And what these features basically look like are large and small craters on the moon. There's a slight indent, circular shape, and that spreads out as we're seeing here. And then we see a complete diminishment of the core. Let's go back to the color map. This is the infrared map. And we see the entire core of this one thunderstorm implode from the heat. So when the microwaves hit the core, it instantaneously heats the water vapor, causing rapid expansion. We get the shock waves, and then the core diminishes, and the strength diminishes here, and then it just weakens the storm. And so this is what they do. It happens all the time. And so what they're doing is you're killing off this low pressure area, and that will prevent a hurricane from forming in these 86-degree waters, which this water all down here is all around 85, 84, 86 degrees. And so that's what's happening there. All right, let's look at the maps. We got the sea level pressure map, large area of high pressure all through here, extending all the way through California, Nevada. This is all high pressure, this whole area right here. And this is causing that wide open ocean exposed to direct sunlight, which is causing the warming of the ocean. Simple as that. The infrared from the sunlight is warming the oceans, the surface temperature of the ocean, and that is helping to cause problems with the weather. Warmer ocean temperatures will cause more evaporation, which causes more clouds and storm formations and so forth and so on. It's an out of control condition, and I believe it's all weather warfare related. Okay, here's the 500 millibar. Got that high right here, low indicated up here, and there's another low right here over Texas and New Mexico. All right, 300 millibar, still have that high out here. It's all high pressure, and low trough there, and we got a low up here, and then there's that storm up over here, which is forecast to, it's going to be coming down towards the west coast, and they're already hitting that with heat, although that's not being really shown on this map. Go back to the 500 millibar. Yeah, they're not really showing anything on that. Right here, we've got the high right here. Okay, so that shows up on the surface pressure. All right, so that's pretty much it. If anything else comes up today, go ahead and post it. Okay, that's it.